Good morning. So what we're going to do is turn some PVC pipe into a protein feeder tube. You can see all the pieces that I've cut or bought, and I think this thing was roughly 20 bucks. There's some other things that you're going to need, but most of us are going to have them in a garage. So I guess to go through the pieces, this is a 3-inch piece of pipe, so it accepts 3-inch PVC on the ends and there. This is actually a toilet bowl flange. This is what's going to mount underneath the feeder to deliver the protein or gravity feed, whatever you put in there. Interesting thing about this piece, if you're at the store, you're going to see that this is a accepts 4-inch pipe. So if this is 4-inch, then why are these 3 inches? Well, I'll tell you. The 4-inch pipe goes around the outside, right? But if you get the right one, the 3-inch pipe actually goes on the inside. Nice. So I prefer to use 3-inch pipe because it's cheaper. Alright, so toilet bowl flange, right? Whether you really use 4-inch pipe or 3-inch pipe is up to you. You're going to need this T or the 3-way. I think it's called a 3-way clean out. I'm no plumber. Go to Home Depot, you'll find it. We've got that. We've got that. This piece is 18 inches long. Each of these pieces are 5 inches long. So what we'll do is we'll kind of connect them and go on from there. Now, when you cut down these pieces of pipe, let's see if I can get a good shot of that. You can kind of see the burrs around the outsides, where I cut that with a hacksaw. And of course this one's smooth, so you're going to want to knock all those burrs off of this. Use a piece of sandpaper, or if you're redneck like me, I just found an old piece of brick. Just sort of run it around the edges, knock off the burrs, and then just a few minutes we're going to do a couple of other things to this. So let me knock those burrs off and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so the burrs are off, and before we glue this thing together, there's a very, very important piece that we need to discuss, and that's the actual little feeder tubes. This is where the deer will put their mouths and eat them some corn. Now, if you can see the lines that I made, so there's one about 1 inch further away is kind of like a little V that I made, and then about another inch is the third one. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to cut those with a hacksaw. This is actually a pretty important piece to or part of the design. What it's going to do is, when this is sitting vertical and you've got all of the protein coming down that tube, it's going to keep it from sliding out of the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little lip on this. And alright, let me grab the hacksaw and we'll do that. You got it coming?
Yep.
Alright guys, so what I've done is I've notched there, just straight down, there straight down, and I cut a little V. The reason we did that is because we're going to heat this piece of pipe up. You can use a lighter, you can put it upside down in boiling water, and then we're going to bend these two pieces up to give the inside just a little lip so that whenever that protein comes down and in here, it won't spill out of the end. Okay, so we're back. So what I've done is I've just put the pipe in there, and it's in boiling water. It's been in there for maybe a minute. I'm going to pull this out. You can see our little cut marks and our little wedge that we cut out of it. And if you watch this, kind of do it with my thumb, you can kind of see that you can actually shape this plastic. See how that curved up already? Some of you may be wondering, is that burning your hand? Actually, it's not. So all I'm doing is I'm kind of curving up a little tip. So I'm going to have to put the camera down and finish this up, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright guys, so we're back. I boiled both of these. It took maybe a minute to do each one. As long as you don't leave it in there till the plastic starts getting gooey, you won't burn yourself. I just took my thumb and pressed that up, and kind of give you a side shot here. You can see how that just barely sticks up. What that's going to do is keep the protein from pouring out of this thing. Just slight little lip. I've seen people stick a piece of wood in there. I've even seen duct tape across the front of them. But if while you're building this, you'll just melt the plastic just a little bit. Like I said, I boiled mine in a pot, but you can do it with a cigarette lighter. And you really don't have to even cut those notches, but it sure helps. So we'll look at it from the other end. Now you can really see what that lip looks like from the other side. Nice, right? Does that make sense? Alright, let's glue this together. Alright, so we've cut the pieces, we've kind of rubbed the burrs off of the PVC pipe, which is important to the next step. We took those, put little lips on them. You know, you can make that lip as deep as you want, but that's enough. All you really want is for the corn or the protein or whatever not to just sort of spill out of the end when you fill up the barrel. The next piece is really going to use the, any of you that's ever glued PVC together, you know that you kind of put the purple primer on it and then slap on the glue. If you're wondering, well, how much of that stuff do I need to buy? The smallest bottle possible, unless you're going to make a few of these. There's no way that you'll use more than that to glue these together. So anyway, let's prime them and glue the pieces together. All right. So I got my glue, and you can see I primed that. I'll put a little glue on the inside here. Maybe a little bit on the outside here. That piece is together. Same thing on all these others. Guys, this isn't real plumbing, you know. You're making a protein tube, so any of you that are plumbers that are saying, hey Rick, you're doing that wrong. Alright, now it's important that that little lip be placed correctly. So if you can see, yeah, something like that, right? Little glue on the inside here. I'm doing this on a piece of scrap carpet in my garage. And turn that to, looks about the way I want, something like that. And then the last piece that I put on, remember I told you this is a 4-inch pipe, right? The 4-inch goes around the outside, but a 3-inch goes around the inside. And if you've got the money and you want to build a 4-inch one, by all means go for it, but the 3-inch is significantly less expensive. This is the piece that will mount up. You know, you take your current feeder motor and everything off, you mount this to the bottom of your barrel or your feeder, you fill it with the protein, comes down to the ends. The only thing to do at this point And I like to do this after it's all glued together. You can see the little bends that we made here. Is I'm going to drill a series of little holes, not too little, I don't know what size, but a little hole here, here, here. I'll probably put about 5 little holes in the bottom of this so that if for some reason it rains and rain blows in here, it has a way for the water to drain out. Other than slapping some paint on it, you're done. Zoom out, sorry about that. Anyway, you kind of get the idea for what this thing is going to look like, right? So that's one that I threw a little coat of just spray paint on. Now the thing about PVC, most of you already know this, it doesn't really take paint well. So, I put it on there just to add a little color. I don't like anything white out in the woods. But, as raccoons or things like that try to climb on this thing, they will, it'll definitely get a little scratched up and so on and so forth. But these 2 feeder or protein tubes cost me roughly $25, $30 to make. And, at that price you can make one for every feeder you've got. Sometime in March, April, convert your broadcast corn throwing feeders over to protein feeders and hopefully get a better crop. The last thing that I would suggest, if you're so inclined, is we'll walk over and right, you see all the protein. I'm heading out to the woods in about a week. Some of you have talked about, I think they're called shark teeth. You put them on the poles of your feeder to keep critters from climbing up. This is actually just a little piece that you can get at Home Depot. It's a wood joiner, I'm not sure the exact name, but you can see that I took some pliers and I kind of bent it, gave it a little curvature. I like that word, curvature. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it to the top of this. You don't have to do this, but what essentially happens is when this protein tube is standing up just like this, I'll put my foot on it to kind of hold it. And the raccoons think they're going to jump up and hang on to it. No, they won't. The first time they get poked by one of those little things, they will definitely think twice about doing it the next time. So, those little metal pieces cost $1. You can put little screws in it here to hold it on, or use the hose clamp, like a big hose clamp, wrap it around this and cinch it down. So however you want to do it, if you want to do it at all. The nice thing about using this round PVC pipe is it's harder for them to get a hold of it. But if you do this right, this piece is going to be probably 36 inches above the ground, so they can walk up and eat out of it. And having said all that, good luck. Happy hunting. Okay guys, so the last thing that you want to do, especially if you're using a 3-inch pipe like I did, is you want to bevel this. You want to cut a slice out. And what that'll allow the deer to do is, no matter what the height of the tube is, they'll be able to come down and get it with their tongue and kind of scrape it out. Some people don't like to bevel it because effectively what you've created is a little bird perch. Remember the lip that we bent up earlier? So I bevel it just to make sure the deer can get to the corn. So you cut that slice out, and what I did is I just took an old saw here and kind of cut it that way. Once you get that bevel cut out, the next thing that you're going to want to do, it'll be very, very sharp. I mean, like a Ginsu knife around the inside. So just take your drill, any drill bit, with some size on it, and put it in reverse. And then kind of go around the lip. And and you're just going to kind of dull that a little bit so that the deer don't cut themselves basically while they're eating. And then of course the very last thing to do is just throw some color on it if you want to. I think we talked about it earlier, but the color won't stay because as the deer start feeding out of it, they'll rub the paint off, and obviously paint doesn't stick very well to PVC anyway. But anyway, that's how you do it.